guys, how you all doing? If you're ever thinking or wondering about seeking asylum in a country, I will advise you to put a country like France at the top of your list. In this video guys, I'm going to be sharing with you all 7 good reasons why you should seek asylum in a country like France. So for those of you who do not know who an asylum seeker is, an asylum seeker is somebody who has left his or her country and the person is seeking international protection in another country. There are different reasons why it's dangerous for these persons to stay in their country. It could be because of war, violence, it could be hunger, or even poverty or sexual gender orientations. So this person, they are not yet legally recognized as refugees. They are still waiting to receive a decision regarding their asylum claims. There are 7 good reasons why you should seek asylum in a country like France. So the first reason here I'll be talking about is the health insurance. So as an asylum seeker, you can also apply for a general health insurance. That is, you can apply to be covered by a medical care when seeing a physician, when going to the hospital. So you have the right to also apply for a complimentary solidarity health insurance. So this complimentary solidarity health insurance, it helps you not to pay anything when going to the hospital, when seeing a physician, or even when obtaining prescription medication. So that way you don't have to pay anything in advance when going to the hospital or seeing a physician, and whatsoever medical expenses you have, they are directly being reimbursed by the social security system. The second point here, the financial support. Every asylum seeker is financially supported. So when you apply to seek for asylum, you come in contact with the OFI, which is the French Office for Immigration and Integration. They are responsible for providing this monthly allowance by either depositing the money into your bank account or into your card that you'll be given. So support differs. It depends whether or not you have an accommodation as an asylum seeker or you do not yet have an accommodation. So if you have an accommodation, the financial support you receive will be different from those who do not have an accommodation, because sometimes the number of asylum seekers are greater than the number of accommodations. So it can happen that, okay, you do not have an accommodation and there's an additional amount reserved for those without accommodation. This brings us to the third reason. As an asylum seeker, you can also have access to free public transportation, or you can as well benefit from a reduced price ticket. So this can be renewed every after 6 months. An example we have here in the region of Britain is the Corrigo card, which allows you to have access to almost all public transportation networks. So with the Corrigo card here in the region of Britain, you can have access to almost all public transportation networks here in the region of Britain. The fourth point here is the accommodation. So as an asylum seeker, you also have right to accommodation, but because the number of asylum seekers is greater than the number of accommodation available for them all, so you can be in a situation where you do not have an accommodation. You can call the 115. It's for emergency purpose. So when you call the 115, they can help provide you with a temporary accommodation for a couple of days. So after you leave that temporary accommodation that has been provided, it's always advisable to keep calling the 115. So maybe in the long run, they can provide you now with something permanent, with a permanent accommodation. Brings us now to the 6th point, which is your education. For an asylum seeker who wish to have an academic continuation, it is possible also here in France, so with the help of ENIC NARIC. So the ENIC NARIC, it's a national information center on the academic recognition of foreign diplomas in France. So if you're an asylum seeker here in France and you wish to have an academic continuation, you can simply go ahead to forward your documents to the ENIC NARIC. They will examine your educational background, and then later on, if everything is okay, they will provide you with a certificate of comparability, which will enable you to be able to go ahead or continue with studies with your foreign diplomas. The next point here is the voluntary services. So as an asylum seeker, you are not limited also, you also can take part in voluntary services. Some are paid, whereas some might be just a gift presentation to you, but it doesn't really matter whether you are paid or not. What matters is that working experience. What matters is that working experience that you gather from taking part in that voluntary services, because such working experience, they go a long way. They help to boost your CV, and they play a very great role in your CV. Maybe for future job purposes, it might really help to boost your CV and make way for you in the future when it comes to you maybe applying for other job opportunities. And this brings us to the last but not the least. As an asylum seeker, you have access to free French language courses that have been organized by different institutions and on different days of the week. So depending on the various institutions, this can go a long way when it comes to you integrating into the French society, most especially if you do not speak the language. So you having access to these free French language courses help to pave way for your integration and into the French society. And thanks for watching, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing contents like this.